We've all heard of the Green Revolution. It was a worldwide shift in farming practices that increased food production dramatically. But now we are living through another revolution, this time in energy and manufacturing. And guess where it's happening? Yep, China. The country is building the largest offshore wind farm. It's planting billions of trees to suck carbon dioxide out of the air. It's creating eco-friendly cities from scratch. So what's going on here? Why is China going green? And what does it mean for the rest of us? That's what we'll talk about today. Let's get into it. To get an idea of how much solar power China has installed, just take a look at this image. These are not just solar panels. They form one of the biggest solar farms in the world, covering over 220 square kilometers. It could supply power to nearly 1 million homes. In fact, China has built more solar capacity over the past 5 years than the entire previous global cumulative total. And with over 130 gigawatts of installed capacity, it accounts for 47% of the global total. But solar isn't China's only strength. With over 340 gigawatts of installed capacity, China also leads the world in wind power, accounting for 42% of the global total. It's currently building the world's largest offshore wind farm, which will produce enough clean energy to power over 6 million homes when completed. It's even leading in hydropower with over 380 gigawatts of installed capacity. With 22 of the world's 100 largest hydropower plants, China generates almost 17% of the world's total electricity from renewable sources. And it's not finished yet. China plans to double its current renewable energy capacity by 2030. So why is China investing so heavily in renewable energy? To put it simply, it's because the country is serious about fighting climate change. China is both the world's biggest greenhouse gas emitter and consumer of fossil fuels. Last year alone, it emitted almost 11 billion tons of carbon dioxide. While this is partly due to its huge population and rapid industrialization over the past decades, China is taking responsibility for its role in climate change and is pushing ahead with decarbonization. In 2007, it became the first major developing country to introduce carbon emissions trading, a market-based system to limit and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Then in 2020, China pledged to become carbon neutral by 2060. As part of this goal, the country aims to peak its carbon emissions before 2030 and then reduce them to 65% below the peak by 2050. And to achieve these goals, China needs to make massive investments in renewable energy. But there's another reason. Unlike most countries, China is pursuing a whole-of-government approach to driving green industries. For example, the government is investing heavily in battery technology, a key component in electric vehicles or EVs. In 2019, China produced 85% of the world's lithium-ion batteries and controls 80% of the global supply chain. This dominance gives it leverage over other countries and companies and allows it to drive down costs, making EVs more affordable and accessible. But China's ambitions go beyond just manufacturing. The country is also aiming to become a leader in green finance, a sector that will play a critical role in funding the transition to a low-carbon economy. In 2019, China launched the Green Development Bank, the world's first multilateral green bank, with an initial capital of $25 billion. It provides loans and other financial services to developing countries for green projects, helping them address climate change while promoting sustainable development. But perhaps most importantly, China is investing in new eco-friendly cities from scratch. One of the most famous examples is Tianjin, a city of the future that aims to be carbon neutral. The city is powered entirely by renewable energy. Its buildings are designed to maximize natural light and ventilation, reducing the need for artificial lighting and air conditioning. And its transportation system is centered around pedestrians and cyclists rather than cars. In fact, Tianjin plans to ban all gas-powered vehicles by 2030. But even if it's still early days, it's already clear that China's green revolution is having an impact. According to a recent study published in the journal Nature, China's efforts to promote electric vehicles have cut carbon emissions by nearly 200 million tons since 2010. If all countries followed suit, it would be equivalent to taking 50 million cars off the road. Of course, it's not all perfect. China still has a long way to go in terms of reducing its overall emissions, and some of its green investments have had unintended consequences. For example, the country's massive reforestation program has led to large-scale monocultures of fast-growing trees such as poplars and willows. This has resulted in a loss of biodiversity and an increase in soil erosion. Nevertheless, China's commitment to fighting climate change is clear, and its green revolution is already having an impact. So what does this mean for the rest of us? Well, firstly, it shows that it is possible to decouple economic growth from carbon emissions. Since the Industrial Revolution, economic growth and carbon emissions have been closely linked. As countries have become wealthier, they have consumed more energy and emitted more carbon dioxide. But China's green revolution shows that this doesn't have to be the case. By investing in green industries and technologies, countries can grow their economies without increasing their emissions. Secondly, it shows that the private sector can play a big role in the transition to a low-carbon economy. For years, the private sector has been criticized for not doing enough to address climate change. But China's green revolution shows that businesses are investing heavily in renewable energy and other green technologies. This is not only because it's the right thing to do, but also because it makes good business sense. Finally, it shows that it's possible to build a sustainable future. For decades, we've been told that we need to choose between economic growth and environmental protection. But China's green revolution shows that this is not the case. By investing in green industries and technologies, countries can create a sustainable future for all. Of course, China's green revolution is still in its early stages, and there's a long way to go. But the country's commitment to fighting climate change is clear, and its efforts are already having an impact. So let's hope that other countries follow suit. We need a green revolution in every country to build a sustainable future for all. And speaking of sustainability, did you know that your phone could help you save the environment? You see, we are living in the age of AI and data, and our phones are the devices that allow us to access the digital world. But not all phones are created equal. Some phones are made with recycled materials. They use less energy, generate less waste, and are more durable. Plus, many brands offer trade-in programs and repair services to extend their lifespan. If you're looking to make a more sustainable choice, check out some of the best eco-friendly phones on the market. They may cost a little more, but it's an investment in the planet and in your wallet. Okay, everyone, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.